my personal YouTube channel, Kirt Hedquist. So if you can Google search that, it'll be on there. So part 1's on there. And we're going to keep tonight about an hour or so. And so that way it keeps it pretty even keeled here, and nobody gets bored and tapers off and falls asleep here. But anyway, again, thank you for joining in. And we're gonna go over a few things here before we jump into the app. There's some really cool stuff available here, and let's get started here. Anyway, those of you that weren't here last weekend, a little bit about me. My name is Kirt Hedquist, of course, and I'm a Navionics marine specialist. I'm a walleye tournament angler in the upper Midwest. I fish with my son Mac on the right-hand corner there, lower right-hand corner. And we've been fishing some tournaments together, go out and have fun. We do some ice fishing. Some other things is I also work with Bruce Doc Sampson, and if you're not familiar with Doc, he's Dr. Sonar. He's got a website called drsonar.com, and so I help him out there. He's got a lot of great information available there on sonar and things like that. He's on Facebook, and I help him with the schools, his Facebook page, and things like that. And you can, again, look us up on drsonar.com, and you can also look me up on the website Kirt Hedquist Kirt Hedquist Outdoors LLC. If anybody has any questions down the road about Lowrance products, I've been on the pro staff for about 6 years now. I'm pretty current on all the latest gadgets that come out from them. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop me an email. I have my email address down below there. Or if you're on Facebook, check it out, my fan pages. There's Kirt Hedquist Outdoors LLC fan page, and at Dr. Sonar. And if you drop some questions, feel free to get a hold of me. Some of you may have seen me on some of the website blogs as More Eyes Kirt H or K Hedquist. So there's a few of them that I'm on. We're going to touch briefly on this because this may come up because what I'm going to show you on, I'm going to use the my iPad, which is going to have a few different features on it than the Android product. But the primary difference between the two platforms are the auto routing is available on iOS only, and it's coming for Android. And I'll show you how that works. And a number of saved markers. Markers is your waypoints and routes and tracks. And the other one is marker icons, and I'll show you those as we go along here. Marker icons, again, are waypoint icons. Android only has a pin. iOS offers you several different options. The tracking console and playback, I'll show you how that works as we get going here, but it's available on iOS only, and it's coming for Android. Some have asked, why does one app cost more than the other one? The iPad app or your tablet app is designed to operate off of a bigger screen. It's optimized. It costs a little bit more to make and things like that. So, if you want to think, you can't buy the phone app and hope it'll work on your iPad or your bigger tablet. So you gotta step up a little bit. Down below here, I put some prices comparative between the two of them here. We're not going to go over that. I went over that last week. What we're going to go over tonight with touch base on is we're going to go over the features of the Navionics Plus upgrade. So if you could, the basic app is free, but there is a Navionics Plus upgrade feature, which gives you a lot of really cool features in it. And so that's what we're going to focus on tonight. So those of you that have the free boating app, you're not going to see this stuff. What you're going to see is on the left-hand side of the screen, and what we're going to go over will be on the right-hand side of the screen. Some of the features that we're going to cover tonight in this session 2 is what they call shallow water highlighting, depth shading, depth contours, and rather than reading all this stuff, I'll show you actually how it works. Water level offset, seabed areas, there's a fishing mode, and a fishing range. A lot of cool stuff that's available here. So we're going to show you actually how that all works on there. Some more features of the Navionics Plus. You get some advanced features. You get a navigation module, advanced map options, dock-to-dock auto routing, which is available on iOS again, and some advanced features. One of the things though on these advanced features is the Navionics Plus is a 1-year subscription. So after your 1-year subscription, the advanced features will expire with Navionics Plus. So you have to renew your subscription, yearly subscription, to your Navionics Plus if you want to keep these functions. Your app will still function the same. You'll still have all the same data, but you won't be able to renew your charts, and you won't get these advanced map options, these advanced features that are on Navionics Plus. So, website, real quickly. Website has got some great information that's available. If you want to go to navionics.com, some of the things you want to look at is there's a tab at the top there I got circled. It's called mobile, and that'll give you some more information on the mobile app. It's more, kind of what we're going over, but it'll give you some, some of the sales points and things like that. The other thing on the website is called a web app, and there, all the data that's available on across all the Navionics mapping product line is available to view on the web app. So if you want to preview mapping at your computer, you can go to the web app. One thing I will say is after you zoom in, you'll want to click on the lower left-hand corner of the screen. There'll be a little sonar icon. Click on that, and that will give you your SonarChart layer, and that's the layer that Navionics develops as they get mapping updates and things like that. So that's where you want to zoom in to see the real detail of a lake. Compatibility chart, drop down to the bottom, scroll down to the bottom of the website there, you'll see a compatibility chart, and there you can find out, let's say you're going to go buy a new phone, or you want to wonder if your app will work on a particular phone. There's a compatibility chart there. Click on that and you will see mobile devices. You can make sure the app will work on your phone that you're getting or your tablet. Couple of things we're going to talk about real quickly here is some of us are lacking ice. Minnesota, I think, is starting to ice over, but there's some parts of maybe the upper Midwest or up the north that's a little short on ice. And one of the things that Navionics can give you that, let's say you still got open water, you can actually go out in the water and do some live mapping that will record to your mobile device. And we'll go over that a little bit, but one of the devices, so what I'm saying here is you can go out and actually do some mapping on some of these lakes that maybe you got a small lake or a pond or something like that, maybe you're in North Dakota, some of these lakes that don't have any mapping. You can physically go out and with open water, drive around the lake and map the lake, and I'll show you some examples of how it works here a little bit later when we get into the app. But basically you can enhance your lake mapping or even more detail, and then so I'll show you how that works here a little bit. Some of the devices you can do that with are the Sonar phone, and the Go Free Wi-Fi module. Let's say you're running a Gen 3 unit, or any Lowrance product. If you have Go Free Wi-Fi module or the HDS Gen 3, you can connect up your mobile app to your mobile device up to one of these here, and you can do SonarChart Live, it's called, and I'll show you how that works. And the other one too is if you don't have a Sonar phone, a Lowrance with either Go Free or Gen 3, you can buy what they call a Sonar server module, and it's a lower right-hand corner there. It's basically a Wi-Fi module that you wire into your NEMA 183 on many sonars, and you can do SonarChart Live. Here's a little bit of an example of how it works out here. You can see this is actually a track I did on a lake called South Lindstrom. Just cruising around the lake there, and you can see you can even get more detail. So you can get maybe some of these small points and pockets and things like that, and this stuff will then be available on your mobile device. So you might find some hidden gems under the water to go ice fishing on, or some key pieces, some key structure pieces. So here's an example of what I did on a river, Upper St. Croix. Before, there was no contour lines up there. I went up and made some passes on the Upper St. Croix. Did some SonarChart live recording, and this is what ended up after the fact. So you can see, you can go from a lake with no mapping to a lake with mapping, and so you can find some structure out there to fish on, holes, points, pockets, things like that. See if this is going to work. Just a little quick video I did of it, how it works out here. So you can see my boat driving around the lake bottom down below there. This is using the Vexilar sonar phone in my duck boat. And I strapped it, the Vexilar sonar phone, to my duck boat, put a 12-volt battery in there, and hooked it up to my iPad and cruised around the lake for a little bit and found some pretty cool stuff out there. So anyway, we're going to get going to the nuts and bolts of this whole thing. Again, if anybody's got any questions, feel free to make a note on top there, and I'll stop and try and answer any questions that we have going on here. So some of the things we're going to cover here tonight are, this bottom center section here where it says Route Start Menu. We're going to go into that with a little bit in some detail. So if you have your iPad, your iPhone, or your Android phone, or your tablet ready, pull up your app and you can follow along here. Again, I remind you, some of these features, if you're running the Android, you may not have some of these features as I'm using my iPad here, because there's a little bit of difference between the two product lines. Eventually they will merge together, so they will be the same, but just a heads up. And then we're going to go over on the lower left-hand corner. We'll talk about the sonar icon and the GPS centering icon there. So all of you should be seeing my iPad screen right now. So anyway, we're going to get started here. We're going to start on the in the menu section here. So what I'm going to do is I'm tapping the menu there, and there we go. Now we're back. I hope nobody left. At least it gave somebody time to go get a beer or something like that. So now we're better. Well, I hope I didn't lose anybody, but give you a little intermission here. Anyway, we're going to start in the bottom here, bottom on the menu section. So tap on your menu feature. What you got going on here is, this is where you're going to save up your track. This is your archives, where you're going to find your tracks, your routes, your markers, and things like that. We touched briefly about downloading the maps and downloading maps in part 1. We can touch a little bit on that. And what we're going to do is we're going to go over some map options, things like that. So let's touch briefly on markers. This is where you're going to find your archives for your tracks and so on and so forth. So if you, well, let's start on markers, actually, markers, waypoints. This is where you're going to find all your waypoints or markers in this menu right here. So let's just start on marker 18. So what it's going to do is you can if you tap on it, it'll take and show you where it's at. If you touch on the lake map itself, you can here's a couple of cool things. You can either do a boat to, so it's a go to. Let's say you want to edit it. If you tap on where it says marker 18, your keypad will pop up, and you can type in, here you can do December, and then save it. It gives you your latitude, longitude, and then we can save it right there. And you notice right below that it said delete. If you want to clean those out, you can delete them off. And so anyway, that's your markers. Routes. We can build routes and we can save routes, and I'll show you how to do that here in a little bit. But this is where you find your route information that you saved, but you can also edit those routes in this menu also. So let's see, and it will show you on the lake, show you where, here I played with one. It'll show you the layout of the route, so you can go to it. So if you tap on route, menu tracks. This is kind of a cool feature. You can record your track, and you can actually, on iOS, you can play it back. And let's see here, webinar demo. So here's one right here on iOS, is what I did. And I'll show you how to do this here in a little bit, but I just want to demonstrate this here, is track. It'll actually record where you've gone in your boat or your car. You can do this on land, water, air too. I did it on an airplane one time to track the airspeed too, which is kind of interesting. But it'll follow along. You can see in this one corner up here, it shows you the speed, the duration, the direction, heading, things like that. So you can just kind of drag it along here, speed it up a little bit here, and close that out. And I will show you how to do that in a little bit here. Let's run down the menu section here some more. Download map. We'll touch briefly on this one again. Let's say you're going to an area that doesn't have any cell phone coverage, but you can use, if you got a built-in, your phone has a built-in GPS receiver, you can utilize it as a handheld GPS. What you can do, let's say you're going to, here's Mille Lacs Lake. You're going out to Mille Lacs Lake. You can actually zoom in on there and you click download, and it will download that area of the map of that lake. So it's stored up in the memory of on your phone or your iPad and so on and so forth. This information doesn't take a lot of people have asked me how much memory does this eat up. It's very little memory in the big scheme of things. So anyways, again, you can use, if you lose cell phone coverage and you've downloaded an area to your device, you can use it as a handheld GPS. Your GPS, it'll track just like a GPS will, a handheld GPS. Another way you can download an area is if you zoom in real tight and drag around, it automatically downloads that particular area to your mobile device. That's the way it's set up. It's an automatic feature. When you zoom in tight, again, it just automatically downloads. One of the questions I had was, how do I know what areas I've downloaded in my that I have downloaded in my mobile device? Menu. Let's see here. Back up here just a little bit so you don't get lost. Close. So if you tap on menu, go to map options to the right there, and tap on no overlay. Let's back that out. If you zoom out far enough, those are the areas, you see where it's yellowed out right there? Those are the areas that I've downloaded to my iPad or downloaded to my iPad. So you can see the various areas that so those areas are basically built-in mapping. So if you lose, again, if you go to like Lake of the Woods or up into Canada where you don't have a cell phone coverage, you can utilize your mobile device as a handheld GPS. One thing I will tell you though, you got to make sure you download this stuff before you lose your cell phone coverage, or if you got Wi-Fi, let's say you're in a bar or a resort or a hotel where you get Wi-Fi coverage, you can download it into your mobile device here. But again, what I did there, in order to see what I had downloaded areas, is I went to menu, tapped on the menu, map options, and we'll turn back on the satellite imagery. So you can see all those areas that are downloaded go away, but if you turn that off, go to no overlay, that's the areas that you've downloaded. And again, there's two ways you can do that. You can click on the download map, or if you zoom in real tight, if you zoom in tight enough and you drag around, that box will pop in. So like down the stuff around the bottom of the map here where Topeka, I was just demoing it and stuff like that. So that's the stuff I did. I just kind of zoomed in a real tight area and downloaded it to my mobile device. So I guess the only way you can keep it from downloading, if you want to zoom in, is to turn off your data plan or shut off your Wi-Fi coverage or whatever. and it won't download. So, again, if you're subscribed to Navionics Plus, you see right below where it says download map, you got update all. So if you got Navionics Plus, the subscription, what it's going to do, it's going to tell you your charts are old. There is 281 kilobytes of data available, and you can either choose to update it now or you can do it later. We're not going to do it because I don't want to take the time. But again, this is what you get with your Navionics Plus subscription. So as Navionics updates their charts, this is where you're going to see the information in the SonarChart layer, which is included in Navionics Plus. Let me just see if there's any, make sure I don't have any questions here. Hold on a second. Nothing yet. Okay, so nobody's confused or else you're sleeping. So we went over updates, map options. Oh, let me back up one second. I missed something. Map options. Here's some cool stuff available in here. Again, we kind of looked at a little bit of this stuff here. Easy View is just like it says, Easy View. If we click on that, it just makes everything bigger. It zooms everything in. So if you forget your glasses and you're like, you can't see anything, tap on the Easy View. It magnifies the icons and text. SonarChart Live. If you've done any SonarChart recordings, you'll be able to see those. And let me show you. Let's see. So you see all those squiggly lines and stuff like that? That's where I've gone out and done some SonarChart recording, SonarChart live recordings. And that stuff is saved up on your tablet. So you can toggle it on and off. And again, you can use this for future reference and things like that. Kind of a cool feature is you can actually put waypoints and stuff or markers on those various items. One thing I'll show you here real quick, and you've done these SonarChart live recordings, is you tap on the screen and hold it. It's going to ask you if you want to swipe them. You can erase that data, but we're not going to do that. You can actually tap. Okay. Close. There we go. We can put some waypoints on some of this stuff here. So let's tap and hold on the screen. See the cursor pop up there? We can drag it over. So let's say we want to put a waypoint on that little point right there. Tap there. Bam, save that. So now we got a waypoint on that little point right there, a little finger right there. And you just tap on marker, and click on add. So now we've added a waypoint to that little spot right there. So that's kind of cool. I was showing you those SonarChart live recordings I did earlier. Back in my introduction. Like I said, this is kind of cool feature. You could go out and hit some of these little lakes out in South Dakota and things like that, and you could actually map them and things like that. So you go out and find some really cool structure and stuff like that. One thing I will tell you on SonarChart live recordings is that the data is that information is uploaded in Navionics, and they process that data, and it will add that to their SonarChart layer for all their mapping products across the board. So if you got a Navionics card, Navionics Plus, Hot Maps Platinum card, or in your mobile app products, that data that's been recorded will then be sent to Navionics. They process that, they put that in SonarChart layer of your map card or your mobile product. So let's map options. So turn that off a little bit. Any of you that fish any reservoirs or anything like that, you can do a water level. Let's see, hold on. Water level correction. What that is for like coastal areas where the tides and things like that, so on and so forth. So around here, we probably would be more. Well, I take that back. It also ties in with the SonarChart live recordings too. So if you turn that on, when you go out and do SonarChart live recordings, it's going to ask you some questions before you do it. Is it inland waters? Is it coastal waters? Do you know is the water up, down, things like that? So that's where that comes into play. But SonarChart Live settings. This is where you can play with some of your SonarChart Live. Let's turn that back on. Here you can kind of play with the background colors a little bit. So you can change out the colors. So if you went out and did some SonarChart Live recordings and you want those to pop on the screen so you can actually see those, that's where you can change some of those, enhance those colors for the SonarChart Live and make it much easier for you to see. Here's a good one, water level correction, water level offset. So hold on a second, I'm going to close this out. Back out just a second. Oops. Turn that off. Water level offset. So let's say you're fishing on a river. Let's say you're fishing on a reservoir or something like that where the water is fluctuated. Here, you can offset the water. So if you know the water level's down, you know, let's say it's down 10 feet, you can either slide the slider over, or if you got big fingers like I do, you can tap onto 13 there, and you can then type in -10 if you want to dial it in exactly. Let's say you just can't get that exactly because your fingers are too big like mine to do that. So there, now we've just offset the water level down 10 feet, and it's gonna change the water level offset. It's gonna enhance the mapping to reflect that change in water level. You can go down to -150 feet, you go up 50 feet. So let's say you're on a reservoir like Lake Oahe or someplace like that where the water level's changed. I know up around Duluth, a lot of the power companies raise and lower the water level up there. Maybe over in Wisconsin and some of those reservoirs. Here you can raise and lower change the water level, and your mapping will then correspond to that. We're going to turn off the fishing mode. This is some of those features that are included in Navionics Plus. Here we got our fish. I turned off the fishing mode. We're just going to touch base on these things right here because it's a little bit different with it off. You can do a shallow water highlight. So two things you can do here. Let's say you're fishing a lake and you want to, you can anything less than 19 feet or less is 19 feet or less will then be highlighted. So you can see the dots there. Makes it much easier to find some of these key structures and key points, structure and things like that on the lake. So, so you can play with that a little bit. So you're sitting in your fish house, you want to figure out, it shows you where all these various humps are and things like that. So you can see anything that's 19 feet or less is highlighted. So you can slide that. Again, all these where you see that little box there, you can tap on that and you can type in what you're looking for. So depth shading, 15, close. So now 15 feet and less is shallow, is highlighted with the red there. You can do some depth shading. That's kind of a little bit of a different way of doing it too. You can slide that back and forth. So again, 15 feet or less is shaded, so it makes it really easy to find, around what's in that depth range. So let's say you're out there fishing, you want to maybe drill some holes in ice in that 15-foot range. It's easy enough to find that and those areas. Just slide that over, turn it off. Depth contours, sometimes lakes get a little cluttered. Here, you slide that over. You can another way you can key in on, you know, if you want to get rid of all the rest of the clutter, let's say 18 feet and less, now it has depth contours. So there's kind of 3 different ways you can highlight a depth range that you're working at. So we'll slide that over. SonarChart density, what that will do is it will remove some of the contour lines off your map. So if you slide that from very high to low, you see that some of the clutter kind of goes away a little bit on your mapping. So maybe you find that the contour lines are they're real dense. Maybe you want to back that off a little bit. Seabed area. One place I found that's really handy. Let me zoom out here a little bit and go to South Dakota. Let's see here. Zoom in on the Missouri River here. Seabed area. There we go. What it's doing is showing you kind of a different composition. Not all lakes have this. Select lakes do have this. What it's doing is highlighting a change in bottom composition. Out here, what it's doing is it's highlighting the old river channel out there in the Missouri River. So if we turn that off, the seabed area goes away. That goes away. Again, indicating a change in bottom composition, or let's say the old river channel out there. So much of Missouri River has this on there. But again, not every lake has this. So if you're on a body of water, you can turn it on and see if that your body of water has this on it. Community edits, again, we touched that. If you want to see how to do those and things like that, I went over that in part 1 of this presentation last Monday. But here you can turn the community edits on and off. Let's see here. Go back here. And how I just did that, where I jumped back to where I am, is I tapped on the sonar icon, or the down below here, and that took me back to, centered me up to exactly where we're sitting. So we're going to go to Lake Marion, for example. Community edits, just to touch briefly on them. That's community generated data or information that everybody can see. If again, that's part of the Navionics Plus, but just to caution you, if you did miss it last week, I would go back. If you're not sure what a community edit is, how to do it, versus a waypoint or a marker, you got to be careful here. So community edits, if you tap on that, that'll turn them off and take away all your community edits. But again, community edits, just real quickly here. Suspended sunny. So somebody put that on there, was out there fishing on, find out exactly when, February 23rd, 2014 at 3:32 p.m. Zachman created a community edit at that point. So he may, who knows, he may have wanted to keep that private to himself, but right now it's community data. You'll see my private markers are some of the markers or waypoints that I made, or I got highlighted right now. This is stuff that nobody else can see. So this is all your private data. And over here, public data. Let's see. Map options. Let's go back to map options. There's a couple more things we got to talk about here. So scroll up to where it says fishing mode. Tap on that where it says fishing mode. You'll see a few more features pop up here. Some really cool stuff right here. The really cool one is called fishing range. And here is where you can dial in. You'll see on my map on your screen where you get the white band right there. Anything between 3 to 9 feet is highlighted in white. So, you know, if you want to punch a bunch of holes in that area, pretty cool deal. You can slide that around a little bit. You probably don't have deep enough water on this lake for 22 feet. No. Again, if you got big fingers, you can type in 10, oops, back up, 10, 12, close. So there you go. Anything that's between that 10 and 12 foot range is now white. So if you get a lake like Mox Lake, we were up there to show you a little bit ago, it could be very cool to highlight some areas. You can drop some markers and waypoints on those. So again, to create a private marker or waypoint, you tap and hold on the screen. Let's close that out. Drag that over that. Click on the question mark. Tap on the marker. Tap on add. Boom. That spot is marked. Let me just check to make sure there are any questions or anything like that. No, I don't see anything. So let's see here. Map options. Was there anything else in here? Again, water level offset, shallow water highlighting, depth contours. Very similar information that was in with the fishing mode turned off, but the fishing mode does give you that fishing range. So again, pretty cool feature. If you're on a lake with a lot of structure, you can go out there and you can highlight that band of structure another way. So there's a number of really good ways to highlight structure or depths that you want to fish at. Let's see here. Magazines and guides. You're sitting in your fish house, you're bored, fish aren't biting. You got some really cool, you can go in here, you can download there's some information. Actually, it's kind of cool, is some of the Navionics staff has, let's say, here's one I did in Rabbit Lake. I went over Rabbit Lake, and there's actually some information on Rabbit Lake here, not a lot of information, but who knows, might be interesting. Categories, boat maintenance, you're sitting there thinking, oh, here it's got some information on that. And let's see here. Covered that. Settings. Let's tap on the settings right here. There's a few key things here that we need to talk about. Is map options. Again, we kind of went over this a little bit. Just takes it back. It's a quick menu. Here you can turn on your satellite imagery, terrain, things like that. Boat settings for those of you that maybe want to use your app in the summertime for boating, or another thing might kind of give you a little bit of, I'll show you when you want to do an auto route. But here's where you can set your draft. And I got mine set for 1 foot, and because I'm using it for ice fishing. That's the smallest amount you can go is 1 foot. Auto lock, what that is it keeps your screen from turning off. So if you're creating a track, your screen won't turn off. So if you turn it off, when your iPad goes idle or your mobile device goes idle, it will then turn off your app or shut it down. Ranking, what that is people that have generated user-generated content, basically your community edits type information, so not a lot there. But sync my data. Here's an important one. Sync my data. If you haven't turned this on yet, you want to turn it on. And if you haven't created an account with Navionics, you will then create an account with Navionics. All your information is shared to the Navionics cloud. It's private information. It's not shared with anybody, but it's an off-site storage, just like with mini computers. Some people have, off-site storage of their computer information. So let's say you lose your phone, you drop your phone down the hole, you'll lose it, you break it, you lose it, or whatever. If you've done a sync my data feature and you come back and restore your app and then you turn it back on, log in, your data all your waypoints, your waypoint slash markers, your routes, trails, all that stuff will be is saved and will be reloaded onto your mobile device. So great feature that will keep you from losing all your really good stuff. Let's see what we got going on here. Travis asked, how wide is each pass of the sonar on SonarChart Live? It depends on the depth. Your typical sonar cone is for every 3 feet of depth, it's about 1 foot wide on a 20-degree cone. So, so you've got to figure, like again, 60 feet of water, your cone, your SonarChart Live will cover about 3 to 1, about a foot. So 2 foot on 6 foot, and on and on down there. So that's just a rule of thumb or ballpark figure there. Restore purchases. So let's say you lose your phone and you get a new mobile. Let's see, you lose your phone or you upgrade phones. You can go in, as long as your Navionics, it's within its 1 year, hasn't expired, you can go in and restore the purchase. Again, it says retrieve previously purchased charts and upgrades. And but the one thing there is if you can't do it across platforms. So if you have an Android phone, you buy an Apple, an iPhone, it won't transfer across the different manufacturers. So it has to be a like for like. So it has to, if you have an Android phone, you get a new Android phone, you can restore purchases. If you have an Apple phone and you buy another Apple phone, you can restore your purchase. So right there. Plotter sync, we won't touch on that because that's remarine Wi-Fi plotters. And let's see here. At the very bottom here, about, if you're wondering what version app you are running, to make sure you got the current one, if you go to the App Store, it'll tell you what the current app is, what the current version is. So if you go to your Play Store, your iTunes account, and you look on there, it says, let's say it says you look on here where it says on your mobile device you got version 8.1, and you go to the Apple Store or Play Store or iTunes, and it says version 8.4. Then it's time to do an upgrade. So that's where you find that out. One other thing too, I'm going to show you real quick too here, before we jump out of here, is what I did is I tapped on the menu button. And if you're ever scratching your head on how did that work again, or what was that he said, you can go down to the bottom here where it says help, and there's an excellent help function down below here. And it will go through all the features on the app. So once in a while I'll get the question, I wish there was an owner's manual for this thing. There is, and it's built into the app. So you don't have to worry about losing it, because you don't have to worry about getting wet or anything like that. So it is, so if you're sitting in your fish house, fish aren't biting, you can fuss around with your, go in the menu, down the bottom here, help, and scroll through and check out, learn some stuff if you want. Submit feedback. Navionics is very good about getting back to you about stuff. So if you have any questions, any issues, tap on submit feedback and type in your question. And you can submit a question and so on and so forth. Let's kind of stop there for a second. Anybody got any questions on any of that stuff yet that I've kind of covered here a little bit? Feel free to type in any answers or anything like that. So give everybody a couple seconds here to kind of think about it, scratch their head, see if you got any more questions or anything like that. One of the things here is, let me just close something out here so you can see my screen, is on the bottom here where it says stop. If you tap on that and you start going, it will then create a track or a trail remember back when I showed you some of those, well, I can show you here, but if you tap on it, you started moving, you got the speedometer, you got the page up in your left-hand corner here where it says miles per hour, your headings and our time and stuff like that. So what you can do is if you start driving around, it will then leave a breadcrumb trail where you've gone, and you can then either choose to save it, and you can find that in your archives right here. So again, where I said webinar demo, and here's where you can play it back. I won't go all the way through that, but close that out. So let's say you'll say you're leaving from a boat ramp and you're heading out across the lake. You know where you want to go. There's two ways you can get there, but you can hit start and it'll record that trail, that track, and it'll show you exactly where you've gone, your speed, and things like that. Again, the only thing on Android products is you can't play it back like that. So, but that should be coming shortly. You can create a route too across the lake. We'll show you a manual route. So this is what we can do on both lines of product. So manual route. So let's say we're at the boat ramp right here. Let's saw the boat ramp icon right there. So there's our first leg, or where we're starting. So let's say we want to go between that narrows. Let's try that again here. One, two, there we go. Screen's a little. So you can create a route across the lake. You know, say you're on the Lax Lake, you want to go to a fish house or something like that, you know where it is out there, you got a marker on it, is you can create a route out to that fish house or area, things like that. But we'll show you a little bit on the in-route stuff here. So anyway, you can, if you want to drag that leg over, let's say you want to move it over there, you can do that. Move that one over there. All you can do is tap and hold on the route points, and you can move them around. So let's say you want to add one in the middle. You just tap and hold on the middle of the route, and there you can add another one in another leg, another point there. So boom, 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 and then you can click on go, and now it will then, our active route is now highlighted in the dark blue. Let me see, hold on a second. Alan, you can't see any, have you, Alan, go to the sonar icon and tap on SonarChart. Do you see if you can see your contour lines, your depth lines? If you've subscribed, you have to subscribe. Maybe I'll just throw this at you too, is you have to subscribe to the Navionics Plus subscription on both platforms. One platform, so if you got Navionics Plus on your phone, it won't automatically transfer over to your tablet. So, so anyway, so if you're not seeing any contour lines on your mapping, lake map, again, let's see here. Where are we at here? There we go. Get back to our active route right here. So, yes, you do. You have to, if you've already, yeah, you have to pay for it on both platforms. Yes, you do. So if you get the free version on, if you got the paid version on, as Alan's asking, if you have to pay for, do you have to pay for the tablet if you've already paid for the phone? Yes, you do. You have to pay for both. It's again backing up a little bit. There's two different versions. The free version, no, the free version won't have any contour lines on it. Free version will look like that. Alan was asking if you have the free version, again, just touching back originally, the free version of the app will have this look to it. So if you have the paid version, you will then get the SonarChart layer like we got going on here. We were talking about routes. So we got this route going on right here. Again, the highlighted dark blue section, where that would be the leg that we're on. As we close in on that next, on the 1, it will then turn to 2, and then 3 will tell you which way to go. Things like that. So great feature to find a way out to. Sorry about that. You want to see what it looked like, don't you? That's how you would find your way out there. So you can do a route, and you could do a stop it, or do a simple route, go, or you can do a reverse route. So now, let's say you're out at the end here, that's where your fish house was. You can do a reverse route. You can tap on edit. My route archives, here's where you would then save a route. So you could save your routes here. So route 8 is one I just recorded, the very top one right there. So you could tap on that. You have rec. So there the route I just saved is right there. And to find your archived routes, you go to Menu, Routes, and all these routes that we've created or we've saved up are stored up in this menu over here on the left-hand side. So current route is what we're navigating right now. So what we can do is we can stop it. Kind of a cool feature here is that, let's go back up here. Let me find one here that, route demo. I'll just use this one here real quick to show you. Let's say we traced the route, we've driven from where the pin is, that's where I started it, is that you can go on top of that and stop there. You can create a route over the top of that. So let's say I had a track that was saved out into the lake right here, a trail, is that you can then do a manual route on top of that and recreate that over the top of a saved trail. Then you can click on go. Let's see if I got a question here. So, any questions on the route portion of it? Stop that. So those are kind of the navigation functions that we got going on here. Again, if you want to record your trail where you've driven, you would tap on start. And let's say well, don't do it while you're driving. Well, let's say tomorrow or whatever, we're driving to work or something like that. You can pull out your app on your phone and set it on your console, turn on your mobile app, and click on where it, click on the start function. it will record your trail all the way to work and back, or all the way to work. It'll record your speed or things like that. Now, you can't play it back on Android yet, but you can play it back if you have an iPhone or a tablet. Let's see. We went over the map options and stuff like that. Anybody got any questions here? We're about 8 o'clock. We're about an hour into this thing. That's kind of about how long I wanted to spend on it. Again, this will be recorded. I'll edit it up a little bit. We had a couple of minor technical hang-ups here in the center of it, so apologize for that. Feel free to ask any questions. Again, you can look me up at, you can shoot me an email at khedquist@navionics.com. How close can you zoom in? You can zoom in about 70 feet, I believe it was. That's what depending where you're at, anywhere from 70 to 70 feet is the tightest I've gotten zoomed in on. So it varies a little bit depending on where you're at. Let's see here. So on the satellite imagery, it'll allow you to zoom in to 70 feet. And the terrain view, our no overlay, about the tightest was 130 feet. So again, you can see I'm down to 70 feet here. Any other questions? Any way to import some aerials? No, it's taken off whatever the satellite imagery that Navionics is currently using. So there's no way to import any aerial photos. Any advice on creating aerial stuff? Not within the mobile app. Let's say Ryan's asking, is there any way to create aerial stuff? Not with the app itself. If you have any discrepancies in mapping and things like that you can always get a waypoint of a particular area and contact Navionics. I'm trying to remember, let's see here, I think escapes me the name of the satellite imagery they use right now. But anyway, no, there is no way of creating any aerial stuff within the actual app itself. Anybody got any questions on the SonarChart Live part of it? I mean, I've touched briefly on that real quick, but that could be a great way to, to do some pre-fishing or scouting beforehand before you get on the water. When we got open water, or like this year, we should be on the ice fishing right now, but some places are still open water, so you could actually get out there. No, that's fine. Ryan, that works for me. So, any other questions that I could help you out with? Let's see here. I mean, just a kind of refresher course. You got on your, if you want to center wherever you're standing, let's say you get off where you're at. Anytime you want to get back to where you center your GPS icon over where you're standing, you tap on the GPS on the lower left-hand corner, that pointer, and that will take you back to exactly where you're standing at. So right there's a couple of different functions there. There is a course up, a north up, and then heading up. So on that little part of it right there. A lot of people ask, well, my phone, if I drop it in the water and things like that. There's a lot of great cases out there and things like that. One thing I will tell you is when you get to your fish house, if you've been using your phone, is that the GPS will eat up the battery. So you can go in there and put it like in an airplane mode or shut the app down and just, turn the app off. and that will stop your, keep that GPS, internal GPS, from eating up the battery so fast. You can get a jump pack for it and plug it in while you're sitting out there and things like that. My iPad, of course, everything's, temperature dependent. Colder it is, sometimes things don't work and things like that. So you kind of got to play with it, find some good stuff out there. But I would highly recommend a floating case for your phone if you're going to have it in your fish house, because many phones end up in the bottom of the lakes. Anyway, well, it's about a little bit after 8. I think I'm going to sign off here. Again, if anybody's got any questions, feel free to reach out to me on my email. I'm on Facebook, things like that. What's the cheapest way to do the SonarCharts Live? Travis is asking, what's the cheapest way to do SonarChart Live? Travis, what kind of sonar do you have now? Do you have what kind of sonar do you have right now? Do you have anything right now that you're using, a boat or a Humminbird, Lowrance, things like that? If you don't have any of that stuff, probably the cheapest way to do SonarChart Live, and it's a great tool that you can use later on. Okay, you can go a couple different routes. Of course, the HDS stuff has built-in Wi-Fi, which maybe that's out of your budget. You can look at maybe one of the Elite series or some of the new Lowrance stuff. The hook, I'm going to talk about Lowrance because that's who I like. And then you get that sonar server, that Wi-Fi module. You can tie that. You can't do that on the hook. You can do that on the Elite series. Let's see if you can find. So right now, there's a lot of great deals out there, and a lot of the Elite series out there. And that has the NEMA 183 outputs. You can get one of those and get the Wi-Fi module, the sonar server. Or a real easy way to do it is to get the Vexlar sonar phone, and that works off of Wi-Fi. What I did in my duck boat is I put the transducer on a piece of wood and just clamped it to the back of the transom and put a 12-volt battery in my boat, little sonar flasher battery, hooked it up to there. Turned on my sonar phone and turned on my mobile app and started doing the recordings I showed you earlier back on my PowerPoint presentation. So it's about as, once you do it, it's pretty darn easy. It goes pretty seamless. Let's see here. I can't find Mille Lacs Knife Lake, the one that's closest to Mille Lacs. Is that the one that's on Highway 65, Chad? The only Knife Lake can open that area would be this one that's should be. Well, we seem to be on my iPad quick connecting here. There is one off of Highway 65, I believe. You can also look that up on the web app also. Any other questions I can help you with here? Well, with that, I think I'm going to sign off. Again, feel free to reach out to me with any specific questions. I'm very quick to get back to you guys. So with that, I'm going to drop out here, and you guys have a good night. Thank you for joining in.